Hey.
Philip.
I got no audio.
No, there you are. You don't hear me? Check. Can anybody hear me? Anything? Am I just clapping like an idiot? If you're in the chat and you can hear me, let me know. I can hear Phil. Okay. Phil can't hear me. I can hear him. I can hear you. You're okay.
So your thumbs up means that you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Yes. The mysteries of technology. Looks like a DJ. What's up? JT, Bill, Vic, Dylan, Colgan, Elaine. How is everybody doing? If you're looking at us, that means it's Monday night once again. So here we are. This is episode 90 freaking 8 of Snakes and Stogies. Brought to you by Puget Sound Pythons. If you look up in the corner above Phil's, what is that, his left shoulder on the screen. Check them out. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. They do have some videos on there that you should definitely check out. And there goes Phil. Good people. So please give them a follow. They're doing a lot of really cool stuff. They're good people as well. So we will wait for Phil to get back here. In the meantime, it's time to crack open this bad boy right here. We got to figure out what we're going to do for episode 100. We've barely talked about it, and it's coming up quick, so we got to figure that out. If any of y'all have any ideas as far as what we should do for episode 100, feel free to let me know. Definitely have to smoke something good, something fancy. So tonight I probably should save this actually for the episode 100. It's a H. Upmann Cuban Magnum 56 Edition Limitada 2015. So I should probably actually go put this back in my humidor and get something else, because I should save this for episode 100. We should do a raffle too, though. I'm going to go swap this out, actually. I'll be right back. I just realized this is better for number 100 than randomly for number 98. I'm back. Oh. Morelia for an episode. We're not at 100 quite yet. We're almost there. So swapped out that H. Upmann. Let me see. Phil texted me. He's probably restarting his computer. He said, I got no audio at all out of the Mac. the one time we're both like we started a little early. Hey, it is what it is. Yeah, it's hard to believe that those Romeo and Juliet Nicaraguas are good. Bill won some of those in the chat. So I swapped this out for a Caldwell Last Czar instead of the H. Upmann Cuban. I'll save that Cuban for episode 100. I've never actually had a Cuban in that bigger gauge like that, so it's going to be interesting. I've always had them in like smaller sizes, like Coronas. That big toe is about to break through. These socks are old, man. At least he has socks on. Nice. It's freaking peanut gallery. Yeah, so episode 100 is coming up, and then episode 150 of THP is actually not far out. Next year is going to be 4 years of THP and THN. And you hear us now. Hello, Raggy. Philip.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's lagging out super bad on my end, which doesn't make any sense because I have full service and full signal and full everything. So, hello.
What's happening?
It figures the one time I'm 10 minutes
I
early.
know. The one time we're both, that's what I just said, is like the one time we're both like here and going.
Legit, here and going.
It's just you're not meant to be on time, buddy.
Apparently not. How's my audio? Does it sound okay?
It sounds perfect.
Excellent. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. I think this Mac might be on its last leg. And
is it the old one?
It's the old one. And I restarted the computer. The computer was off. I restarted the computer and it still wasn't doing it. So then I started to do like the test music for StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can like test it and make sure it's like everything.
And it's super obnoxious. Yep.
And it didn't play anything. And I was like, oh, shit. So I just did it and everything's good. And man, we got a full house tonight. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Did we do any of our normal intro stuff yet?
I did.
Excellent. All right. Well, then I'm going to mute myself for a second so I can get some videos and stuff ready because clearly this computer does not want to work. So I'll be right back. Excuse me.
Speaking of Macs, I had to do a factory reset on mine. And so I spent the better part of today and some yesterday. Actually, no, it was Saturday. Literally making my Mac the way it was before I did the factory reset. And the reason I did that is because my old Apple ID, I'd been completely locked out of that account because I guess I had tried the wrong password too many times. And then like I couldn't remember my security questions. And then the rescue email is an old email that was from like when I was playing music in a band, and that was the band email, and no email was getting sent to that. So I talked to Apple support, and they're completely useless. They pretty much tell me they have no idea what my rescue email is because it's not right in front of them. You know, why would it be? You know, on the back end of one of the most technologically advanced companies in the world, and they can't tell you what your rescue email address is, so you can have an idea of which one to be checking. And I couldn't even sign out of my Apple ID as it's signed in on this Mac because I had to have my password. And when I put in my password, it's like, you've been locked out. So completely just 100% locked out of my Apple ID account. So I had to factory reset this. I created a new one, and that's what I'm working with now. And I had to go through and re-download all the fonts that I use in the magazine. Thank God I saved the InDesign files for each issue so that I didn't have to completely restart from scratch, you know, with the presets and and everything with the magazine and InDesign. I had that ready to go and salvaged. So it's been a pretty irritating bit of work just to be able to log in and out of my Apple ID. And originally I was doing it so I could get stats from iTunes for the podcast, but now I'm gonna have to figure that out tomorrow as to if I can even get that data transferred over to this Apple ID. Long story short, this is why I use Samsung phones, and the only Apple thing I use is this, because their computers are awesome, but the whole thing was just a fiasco. And I've been locked out of that Apple ID account for a couple months now, and I only just now recently got around to actually doing something about it. Just absolute clusterfuck.
Well, I can confidently say that I've never had an issue with any Apple product, except for when it's like past its warranty, so to speak. I mean, metaphorical warranty, you know what I mean? And when they die, man. They go hard.
Yeah, but they paid their dues.
100%. 100%.
I think that old Apple ID was like a worst case scenario of like, I couldn't remember the answers to the security questions because those were from like high school. I couldn't remember the email for the recovery. You know, I couldn't remember the password, which I was sure had never changed, but I must have misentered it enough times for it to be like, yeah, dude, you're done. So,
yeah,
but it's pretty much back to normal now. I think I got everything back to where I want it. So,
good. How's the weather by you?
It's cold and awesome.
That's fantastic. Good. This is the first time I've seen you wear socks in like 9 months.
Yeah, it's just we had the whole nor'easter thing, you know? So the last couple days it's been really windy and really rainy and really gross. And
yeah,
I like the cold, so I'm happy with it. But
well, good. I'm still waiting for mine. I actually
cold.
I actually was thinking, I was like, man, the actual hoodie, the ASF hoodie.
Okay. You cut out when you said that.
But it's not gonna. Yeah, so I'm waiting for my hoodie to come in, and but I knew you were gonna wear yours tonight, so I found the next best thing color scheme wise. I got my Tiki's Geckos shirt.
Nice.
Which matches. So yeah. What's new with you, pal?
Preparing to start cooling some stuff down here in the next probably 2 weeks, maybe a little sooner. I'm going to start putting some stuff in cooling. I have my little Govee unit here in the garage. I'm trying to see what sort of temperatures we're dealing with here throughout the night and throughout the day, so I can put stuff in here if I need to. Because the closet, I put that same brick in my closet, and it only got down to like 64. So that worked last year, but I want to get them cooler than that. So we'll see if putting them in here will be okay. Cool. It's mostly like the extreme cold that I worry about. You know, come like January and stuff. That's where I mostly worry, but I don't know. We shall see. I got a lot of stuff lined up. Got some Bairds. I got the Dion's.
Well, like pairing wise, okay.
Yeah. I got 2 pairs of the locality corns from here in my area. I think the Bimaculata, I need to make sure that those are of age and that they are what I was told they are, because they're considerably smaller than the Dion's, but they're supposed to be adults. So
okay,
we'll have to see there. And the Thorn Scrubs.
Yeah, because they don't get that big, right?
I mean, not in relation to like other Elafe and stuff. No, not really.
Right.
So we will see. We are getting there. That's about it. I'm going to start working on the next issue of the magazine this week, now that we have a pretty good amount of content to be able to comfortably fill one up. We haven't really made any sort of formal like announcement, but the magazine is basically, instead of going month to month now, we've decided to make it like issue to issue, if that makes any sense. Doing it monthly is great and all, but it's also extremely stressful, especially when it's a feast or famine kind of situation when it comes to content for these issues. So Phil and I have decided that that's probably the best, but least stressful path to go down. So
yeah. Plus, I think everyone can agree that it would be better to have a better issue with better content than to just try and scrape some stuff together. You know, we want to keep it as awesome as we can, and it'll probably still be, you know, monthly in one manner of speaking, but it's not going to be every single, you know, the 7th or the 15th of the month. So. Yeah.
And I mean, we're 2 months in, like, well,
right.
Not 2 months. We're 2 years into it, so
it just builds more room for anticipation.
No. We're still working out some of the finer details as far as that, and getting, you know, the bills paid for that. If income or whatever, things are going to get irregular as far as schedule wise, making sure all the bases are covered. So figuring it out. But it's been a struggle for me, because I'm like, the reason we did it monthly is like I put it on a deadline mostly for me, because I wanted to, if I gave myself too much leeway, I was going to get lazy. And so the whole deadline and stuff of monthly was for me mostly, and just wanting to drop it and drop it and drop it. So this is going to be a little strange. It's going to be an adjustment, because I'm so used to having that. Like, okay, the first week off of the month is usually just kind of hanging out, doing a little bit of work with it. And then that second week, that's when we start gathering. And then that third and fourth week is when it's like design and hammer it out and get it out and repeat. So not being on that now is going to be pretty big adjustment. But what are you smoking upon this eve? I can't tell if he's frozen or not. Philip. Oh. You're moving. There you go. You're live.
There's a lag. It's a really bad lag. Yeah, what's crazy is it looks totally normal and sounds totally normal until I can do anything, and then it just locks up on me. So I may wind up, if this keeps up, I don't want it to short our show, so I may just swap laptops and risk damaging the good one. As far as smoking tonight, I went with another oddball from that one company, the Good Cigar Company. It's actually the Rove, and this is a Nicaraguan Maduro, and it's not going to show, but the Rove. So real dark. We'll see how she lights. So Leaf Torch Zippo is also on its last leg because it won't. Well, now it works great. Anyway, I'm batting 1,000 tonight, children. And what's Bill talking about? Catfish nuggets. Nice.
What are you smoking? Got a deal on catfish nuggets. So I'm smoking. I was originally going to light up. So today I got a H. Upmann Cuban, the Magnum 56. It's like the 2015 edition. Someone gave them to Raj, and Raj gave me one.
Nice.
And I was going to smoke that. And then I started talking about the 100th episode, and I looked at it and said, what am I doing? Why am I not saving this for episode 100? And I went and swapped it out for this Caldwell Lazar.
Nice.
And they're good.
Can't get enough of the Caldwell, man. I really can't.
The last time I had one of these, though, I really was kind of not all that impressed. It was fresh out the box, but now they've had some time to sort of air out a little bit. It's definitely better than I remember it being. So.
Nice. I actually, so this past Wednesday, I got my annual inspection from Florida Fish and Wildlife, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, or FWC as we call them. And once a year, they come by
Damn it. You froze again. I don't know if you can hear me. Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee. He gone. It's going to kick him. And he's probably going to switch. So I mentioned the plans for breeding this upcoming season. The Ackies are settling in really well. They're starting to, the female especially is really starting to put on some size. Like they're growing quick. I started sort of getting feeder colonies of stuff together. Started doing some mealworms, superworms, waxworms, which are surprisingly easy to culture. I just learned. For some reason, I thought they were a little more difficult, but they're not. It's just some sort of moth, and you keep them on a substrate of like oats and honey mixed up in a certain ratio, and they kind of do the rest, and then got a dubia colony going again. So as they grow, they'll have a nice sort of variety of stuff to eat on. And I gave them some scrambled eggs yesterday, and they went ham on those things, man. It was just one egg, and I just chopped it up nice and put it in their bowl, and they were all about it. It was actually really, really funny to watch because within a minute, I put it in, I kind of walked out the room, and I walked back in a couple seconds later from filling up, I think, the water filter or something, and little male was just in that bowl, all about it. So they're doing really well. They're putting on size. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of contemplating as far as if I want to pair up all the stuff that I have planned to pair. I'm thinking I'm probably going to go ahead and do it. If I end up with too much stuff, there's plenty of animals that I'll donate to raffles or for here in the Snakes and Stogies raffle for the people that aren't cigar smokers. Finally have something to give there. Yeah, so if you have any interest in thorn scrubs, some Baird's rats, corn snakes, Diones, maybe bimaculata, I don't know yet. Let me know. The Loma Alta Bairds will be paired up. Those are the only thing that's going to be iffy because however many I end up with after, hatching and feeding stuff and whatnot, if I have extras, then those will go up somewhere. But if I don't, I'm going to hold on to all of them. So, yeah, Mike said about time. I've had the pair of Loma Altas since the 2019 Carpet Fest, Southeast Carpet Fest, I think it was. So I've been raising those up since they were little. I've got the same pair that produced the clutch I got this year. And I'm contemplating pairing a different male with that female. I've got time to decide. Stuff's going to go down for the next couple weeks. It's here soon, so we'll figure that out. Thorn scrubs, I'm just going to give those a shot. And I know there's been some people interested in those. So we'll see what happens there. The corns I'm super excited about. I'm going to have a pair of the Ladies Island localities again. It's going to be the same female, but a different male. And then the other pair is going to be the male from the clutch that produced this clutch this year. He's going to a female from the mainland, quote unquote. Not one of the barrier islands, but still Beaufort County. So they will still be county specific, just not like hyper specific to the islands. At least one pair won't. So I'm excited about that. It won't be until 2023, so not this spring coming up, but the following one that I'll have way more going on as far as Bairds. I'll have a lot more females ready to go. So I'm pretty excited about that. Hoping that I will be back to breeding chondros this time next year as well. The mealworms are Nueces County. collected by Chris Painchab and sent to me. So the male's a really nice light color. He's got a little bit of aberrancy in the pattern. The female's kind of the typical dark, chocolatey looking emery eye sort of deal. Both are complete assholes, so I expect nothing less from their offspring. But they're cool. I mean, they're handsome snakes. I know some people like emery eye people are sort of about them, but they really are kind of like the Bairds. They are very handsome snakes when you see them in person. Like you see pictures and yeah, they're nice and all, but it's not until you see them firsthand that you see the iridescence and stuff. And then Dylan asked, are you looking to go a certain direction with your corns or keep them looking wild? I'm going to plan on doing a little bit of both, honestly. I'm really anxious to plug the F1 stuff into some of the morphs and see kind of what happens. And I also want to see it and play with it with some of the Tessera stuff and some of the other things I've got in the works as far as grow outs and things that I'll be breeding that's morph wise. So plan to do both, kind of like Billy does with his green tree with his Carpondros. So he still has the Carpondros, but he also still has his line specific projects. And if he has a spare male from one side and a spare female from something else, he'll throw them together. But he still has his core group. So, but I'm definitely planning on as far as the wild type stuff and keeping it that way. I'm definitely aiming to selectively breed and hold back stuff. I have 4 holdbacks from that first clutch. They're coloring up really good. Kind of went through and picked like some of the 2 of the lighter ones and then 2 of the darker ones. And I can't tell if they're going to look more like mom or look more like dad by the time they get older. They're kind of look like they could go either way. So it's going to be interesting to see, but definitely plan to play around with that long term and keep some holdbacks from each clutch. And, it'll be good. And then that same female that I plan to pair with that island male, I've got a really nice het sun-kissed male that I really want to put with her because they both have those nice, super dark, super thick saddle borders, and I really want to extrapolate on that some. And then the other big project as far as corns go that I'm super anxious about is just my pair of the honey motley female and the honey tessera that I got from JT. That's like at least 2 years out from actually happening, and that's assuming nothing happens between now and then with those animals. That's going to look really cool. Those are 2 of my favorite corns that I have, so putting them together only makes sense down the line. I got the honey tessera male, and then when we were in Colombia, I saw the honey motley, which is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting looking corn morphs out there. Got a female, and they've been eating like crazy. Female took a little bit of time to kind of get going, and now she's on track. And the honey tester has been rock solid since day one because JT's the man. And then, like I said, Baird stuff. I've got a lot growing up for next season. Chris and I have a pair of the het aneries from Tim Spuckler. And so within the next 3 years, those will be ready to go. And we're super excited about that. That was the only pair of the het aneries released that I'm aware of. So we snatched those up, and a lot of stuff on the docket.
How's my audio?
It's good. Did you switch computers?
Yes, I switched computers.
Yeah, I figured. As soon as he froze, I was like, he's gone. He's gone, and he's going to switch.
Yep, and now like my white balance is all funky, and I look like I have yellow skin.
You look like you have jaundice.
I do. I look like I have jaundice. And the other thing too is because I never used the OG link that you gave me for StreamYard on this particular computer, I don't have any controls anymore. Oh. I'm back to being like a guest, so whatever. But I'm back and I'm here, and you can hear me and I can hear you, and there's no lag, and life is good.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. So, what did I miss?
I was just talking about sort of future breeding projects within the next 2 or 3 years.
Cool.
You know, some of the corn stuff I've got growing up, and the Bairds. So
Nice. Excellent. Oh, so I was trying to show this photo. Somebody, I don't remember if it was the Snakes and Stogies Facebook group or someone's personal page post, but somebody was like, show off your reptile room. And I didn't, because my reptile room's been in disarray for so long. And I still need to play Tetris with Anna Maria, but I did immaculate cleaning of it so for my inspection. So I figured, why not share it with the world? What is this? Google Chrome would like to record this computer screen. No.
you have to screen share.
You have to screen share?
I'm pretty sure you do, yeah.
Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. That's so screwed up.
Oh man. Old man Wolf.
I just can't win tonight.
You really torpedoed this one there.
Yeah, no kidding. Why does Google need to record my screen?
It's the same reason it asks you to use your mic and camera, dude.
Oh my God.
Gross.
All right, how do I... All right. Okay.
Yeah, this is a good cigar. It's to the point now where we get new stuff at work, and I actually try not to smoke it as soon as we get it in and I open a box. Like now I kind of, because I notice a lot of times when you pull one straight out after taking the plastic off and smoke one, they don't seem to taste very good. But if you give them at least a week just to kind of mellow out, it really does seem to do them some justice. So. How did your inspection go?
It went with flying colors. Yeah, quick and painless as it always is. My inspector was a little taken back by the volume I've increased over the past year, but he's cool, man. He's not really a snake guy. He really doesn't know a lot about snakes. He just knows the laws. So he checks and makes sure that everything's cool. I was actually concerned that he was going to give me a hard time about not having water bowls with any of the Cerastes. But he saw them clear as day and didn't say anything. So maybe I'm not the first person to, have an arid species that doesn't want a water bowl. But yeah, it went quite well. And sometimes it's a 20-minute process. Sometimes it's a 40-minute process. It depends on how much BSing you do or how much, violations you have. But he was actually really impressed with the Cloud Forest Design Anti-Venom Labels that I had drawn up.
Nice.
He thought that was brilliant. So
yeah.
And he's like, oh, look, there's like a little map and everything. I was like, yeah, man, the Cloud Forest Design does a hell of a job, Forgive me, I'm still trying to fix this issue. System preferences.
While you were away, I also mentioned how yesterday I gave the Aggies some scrambled eggs, and they went nuts.
Nice.
They were all about it. The female's growing quick. I mean, they're both growing a lot, but that female in particular, like she's definitely put on size just within the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks that I've gotten them. I freaking love them though. I really was overthinking them the whole thing because they've been no issues so far. Like they'll eat off the tongs for me if I kind of hide my hand a little bit, and they're doing well. I want to try another brand aside from these Govies, though, because for whatever reason, like I have the app open right now, and I'm trying to read the brick that's literally right next to me, and it's taking forever to load. And I wonder if the sensor push are any better. I know that's the ones that Andy likes to use. What time is 2052? Military time. Is that 8? Cool. It is 57 in here right now. And dropping. Jesus. That's what I thought. I'm just going to have to freaking cut out this first 40 minutes. Running out of things to talk about. Just sit here and stare at each other. Andy, do you find that the Dom asks, does the sensor push send you notifications even when the app isn't open? Don't you have to have like the Wi-Fi extender or something like that with those? Like there's a separate unit you have to buy to make them Wi-Fi compatible to where you can check in on them wherever. Give it up, man.
No one's gonna listen to this. No one's gonna. They'll be like, "Wow, Phil's lost his rocker." No one's gonna listen to this. All right. Were you asking me something? Because I had everything turned off.
Nope.
Okay, never mind. Well, here's the stupid picture of the room, in case anyone actually cared.
Oh,
Justin,
I have to add it, don't I?
Unless you want to send me a new link.
I'm not dead. You have to log in.
Yeah. So there's my room. Anticlimactic. I plan on moving more visions and stuff to Justin, I can stop it if you want. I plan on moving more visions to that one wall that's in the center, and then probably adding some racks onto the far right wall to the right of the window, the way you see it. But yeah, that's the room in case anyone was curious. So,
for some reason, I was thinking it was smaller.
The picture makes it look bigger than it is. It's a standard bedroom size room, so. And there is a massive closet, but it is filled to the brim with crap that's not mine, nor my nor my roommates. So I actually sealed the doors shut and then taped all the gaps up with packing tape, like industrial packing tape, so that way, God forbid, something slipped out, it wouldn't go into that closet full of crap, So, but luckily, I had the room inspected prior to any cages or furniture or racks or anything in there, so Fish and Wildlife has deemed it escape proof, which is awesome. So now I can just kind of do whatever I want in the room, and because it's escape proof, I don't have to have locks on certain cages. So like I have tubs with wrinkles in them and stuff like that, and as long as they're labeled and secured, I don't have to have a locking mechanism on a gasket tub.
So word on the street is that South Carolina lawmakers are going to be meeting again within the next, I think, week or two to circle back to the venomous laws that they tabled.
Great.
So.
All right. Any idea of what those might be?
I don't, honestly. I'm expecting the worst.
Yeah, it's probably a safe assumption.
It's unfortunate. It's getting increasingly hard to get behind the venomous community. Damn, son, like nothing is working tonight. You really struggling.
Yeah.
What a freaking train wreck.
Yeah. Well, we're fucking
I was
45 minutes in. I might as well tell the fucking surprise.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, how many people are...
while you were gone, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna cut the first 40 minutes out.
Yeah. God bless you. So, how many people are watching this right now?
20.
Good. So those 20 people right now are going to get the first taste of a super top secret project that some of you may have actually stumbled across on Instagram. I didn't realize that when you make a new Instagram page, it tells everyone that you might know. So the page already has a handful of followers, even though there's no posts. I haven't advertised it, nor have I told anyone shy of maybe 4 or 5 people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But you're probably going to have to share this one again, Justin. Sorry to make you have to lean over again. But
if only I had a damn dongle thing where I could just have my mouse.
So let me screen share this. All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Well, without further ado, here is what you've all been waiting for.
Jurassic Park.
Pretty much.
Oh.
So
I
let me plug my headphones back in so I can hear what the hell's going on.
You put the THN logo in there?
Yeah, I had to, bro. Had to rep the brand.
Well, I wasn't sure because you had mentioned before y'all kind of went back and forth on making it independent or...
So, well, yes. And so that, ladies and germs, is the new venomous wing of THN and the occasional NPR. Venom Exchange Radio, a new podcast out by yours truly, co-hosted with the one and only Mr. Nipper Reed. That's right. Me and Nipper have our own show. Everyone Run for the Hills. And we have several people lined up that everyone's going to want to hear. Some people that have been on podcasts before, some people that have never been on podcasts before. I will say this, we're going to wait a few more weeks to put some more episodes under our belt before I actually put it out straight up into the ether, as Bill Bradley would say. And if you want to go check it out, is an Instagram page. It's Venom Exchange Radio on Instagram. There's nothing posted yet, but there will be. I can honestly say our first human guest is the Clob King, Mr. Kyle Vargas. So I'm very excited to air that one. Nipper and I kind of talked to him a little more about field herping and some of the stuff that he's done in outside of the room itself. Because when we had him on THP, it was very much a herpetoculture show. We wanted to kind of expand on that a little bit. And Nipper and I are very, very excited. So figure I'd just give you a little taste.
As you should be.
Yep. Because we have such great friends and great followers, I'm going to say this coming Wednesday, so in 48-ish hours, I'm going to debut the intro to the Venom Exchange Radio, which I'm quite proud of. It's silly. It's very much Nipper and I. And we'll slowly start to leak out a few things here and there until I get a couple more episodes, and then we'll go full mainstream. So anybody who wants...
What's the length on them? Like, how long are y'all making them or trying to keep them to?
We're kind of winging it for right now. It depends on who we have on. The first episode is right around an hour.
Okay.
But the episode with Kyle is well over 2 hours. So we'll try and keep it normal for people. But there's going to be...
How hard has it been making time schedules work with Nipper being
it
so
sucks.
far in the future?
Yeah. Unless it's like noon my time.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard. And luckily he's been working late. So he gets off late. So instead of going straight to bed, he stays up a little bit for me and whoever else. But we have some amazing guests that people are going to when we finally get them on. That's going to be awesome. And then at the same time, a bunch of people that I didn't even know existed. So Nipper
like
is
over in his neck
oh
of the
yeah,
woods?
his realm, you know.
He's in the UK for people that don't know.
Yeah. So people that I've never heard of, people that don't have social media and they've just been in it for a long, long time. So
Nipper's in London.
But we're very, very excited. And you guys hear those sirens?
Yeah, boy, someone's in trouble.
I just can't win tonight, man. So, but yeah, Venom Exchange Radio, anything and all things venomous. We're going to cover it all. Mostly snakes, let's be real. Snakes, some inverts, some mammals, maybe. Who knows? The sky is the limit. So, Venom Exchange Radio, check it out. Coming to a earbud near you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on Reptile Fight Club this week.
You were. I want to talk about that. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, just because I'm swamped with work.
It's not even up yet. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know Scott was a little upset I hadn't listened to his yet.
I listened to that. Yeah, I finished that one yesterday, and it was everything I would expect from a taxonomy and Scott Eiper episode. Scott debates got a little heated.
I can imagine, because
not in like a disrespectful way, but they were some like, where is that idea coming from in your brain? I want to know, and I want to know why now.
Right. And I mean, you and I know personally that him and Doc Julander, they go way back, especially on that topic. So
yeah, it was good. And then it's not. So we recorded my episode before that one even came out, and so it turns out, that episode started us talking about the use of scientific names in the hobby and whether or not it should be more of a norm or not. Right. And of course, by the end of that episode, we were pretty much, it just evolved into like taxonomy and sort of all my gripes with it. And so hopefully that'll be coming out soon, but it was a good show. It was a good time. That's the first time I'll talk to Chuck Poland. So
yeah, he seems like a great guy.
I enjoyed it. And I mean, Dr. Julander's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I get to talk to him, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, man, he's a trip. He's hilarious. So good stuff, man. Yeah, I definitely want to listen to that. I'm going to be driving up to the Tampa Repticon this coming Sunday to meet up with Billy, Casey, and Vic. And obviously it's about a 3-hour drive, so I'm going to try and bang out a couple podcasts on the way, because I have been definitively slacking on that front. So
Dominique asked a question. So I put up the community poll for the magazine. Each issue I try to put up a little community, just some question that I'm curious about people's thoughts and where they're at. And the question that I just put up today was, do you keep up with taxonomy and changes? And it was like yes, no, and then I only through other people. So I put only through other people because usually when I hear about something, it's from someone in our group or one of our doctor friends.
Right.
But Dom asked, how the fuck do you keep up with them? I feel like I just hear it from you guys. I don't know how to follow it myself. And I mean, really, unless you're actively searching for it, which I feel like a lot of people probably aren't, once a week or every other week going through and Googling on Google Scholar or something, looking for a certain genus and any changes. Anytime I see stuff like that, I try to share it on the platform so people kind of see it and can sort of get what they want from it. But
yeah,
some of it is very under the radar. Some of it's not exactly breaking news or important news, given everything else going on in the world on a daily basis. So a lot of it kind of flies under the radar, and it seems like a lot of it we don't really notice as a community until a couple months after it's already been published and known. So
yeah,
I don't know. I hear it through other people because that's just how it happens. So
yeah, and I think it comes down to your friends know what you like, and I can't tell you how many times friends, whether it be you or Billy or Nipper, send me a link to something that I had no idea it existed. Brand new, maybe it was a couple months old, maybe it was a couple days old, and they're like, "Hey, man, Phil likes Telescopus. This just came out." Boom, and just kind of go from there. So the word of mouth is extremely helpful. And if you ever find yourself stumbling across something that you think somebody in our friend circle or your own friend circle may like, then shoot it over to them, and just share the knowledge. What's funny is talking about taxonomy and Fight Club and the Ipers. So a few years back, Mark O'Shea put out a book review on a book that's very dear to me called Naming the Shrew. And I actually did a Herpetoculture magazine book review on it, right? So Scott and Ty had not heard of the book, so I told him, I was like, dude, you got to get this book. It's a little rudimentary for their level of taxonomy, but a fun book nonetheless, because it basically breaks down and laymanizes a lot of the scientific nomenclature and taxonomic nomenclature and why things are the way they are. Why is the genera always capitalized and the specific not capitalized? Why are certain things in italics and certain things are not? How to give credit when credit's due, and it breaks it down in an etymology that's fun and not mundane. You know what I mean? So I guess Scott finished the book and then he gave it to Ty or vice versa, and she sent me a screenshot.
They rip it apart?
No, not at all, not at all. But she sent me a picture of one of the pages. There's a section called "The Names There Are," right? And I think it's like chapter 2 or chapter 3. And there's one paragraph that's the end of the section, and she just sends me the picture. It says, "Don't tell this to Scott," or something to the. Actually, let me see exactly what she said because it was funny. She said,
let's see if it's on. I'm looking on if it's on Amazon right now.
100% it is. So she says, "For when Scott corrects you next," with a laughing emoji. And I was like, what is this? Because Scott, he does correct me on my taxonomy from time to time. And he's one of the only people in the world that I genuinely appreciate it. You know what I mean? Because he's not doing it to be malicious or to, be snooty. He's doing it to expand our minds, right? But this paragraph, it just speaks so much volume to how we are as herpers and animal enthusiasts. All right, if I may,
it's on Amazon and it's $16.58 for the hardcover, $15.87 for the paperback. Just so everyone knows.
There you go. Yeah, Naming the Shrew, an amazing book.
It's on my birthday wish list.
Excellent. We'll see. We'll see if I get you for Secret Santa. So it says, should you ever face the necessity of pronouncing Latin names in public, my heartfelt advice is to use straightforward intimidation and do so very loudly and with enormous confidence. If they know of the organism concerning, they will more likely know what you mean and will assume it was they who had always mispronounced it in the past.
Say it with confidence and no one will question it.
Exactly. And everyone knows it's not Nephrus, it's Nepurarus. There you go.
Yeah, we talked about that in the Fight Club episode too, was the whole pronunciation thing. And I was like, unless you have a degree in Latin,
right?
I'm not going to fault someone for not, we talked like Crotalus and Crotalus. A lot of it's just people emphasize a different syllable. So
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I say Crotalus because That's what I say. I said Crotalus.
Breadly, Breadlie.
It's not
Tomato, tomato.
TAS. It's not Crotalus. It's Crotalus. You got to drop that U. Crotalus. But people are gonna look at you like, oh, you're a weirdo if you're at the reptile show and you go, yeah, man, how much for the Crotalus?
The snap of a camel crush.
Yes. This microphone picks up everything. It's a blessing and a curse. So we covered my atrocities. We covered your recent endeavors in other podcasts, and we announced the Venom Exchange Radio with myself and Nipper, all of which was done in about 10 minutes because my life is falling apart to shambles. So yeah, I actually had a bunch of photos lined up for tonight. I had some videos lined up for tonight. Let me see if I can try and recover some of this crap.
For what?
Just to talk and
to just stuff.
Just stuff, just stuff to go over. I finally got the when I got the Anti-Venom Labels for my room, I also got them for Underground's new retail room. So, excuse me, I figured I was going to show those off. And Anna Marie and I took a trip to Henry's and took some great pictures of Mango. So I was going to show him off if you want to see him.
Always want to see Mango, man.
Let's show off the Mango. And this is the problem, is you see a king like Mango, which is unlike any other king I've ever seen in my entire life. And you can't help but want one. And that's a bad picture. Let's be real.
I feel like any picture that even Henry posts of him, it won't do him justice. You really can't grasp the level of peach on that animal.
Right. So let me see. How do you make this full screen? I don't even know on this computer. That's how messed up I am.
God, you're old.
I know. So yeah, he is a majestic son of a bitch, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Growing like freaking weed.
Yes,
it was only like a week ago that he was that tiny little thing on the trash can lid.
Right. Well, I think Henry said that he's 16 or 17 months old, and he's already almost 9 foot.
Good God.
Yeah. So here's Anna Maria taking a little up close and personal picture, and you can see that the pictures are a little deceiving, because he looks bigger than he really is, and in that photo he is easily 8+ foot, but he's still not as gigantic as you'd imagine a 9 foot snake to be. But I thought these pictures came out great. She was super stoked about it, and he's like, "Why are you taking my picture with a little half-ass hood?" So
get out of my room.
Yeah. And Anna Maria got the iPhone 13, so the camera is stupid amazing. So that's probably my favorite one in the set. And then the following pictures, actually, Anna Maria took, and I just saved them on my phone because they're just so great photos. Actually, this is cool. We'll play this.
Full screen shortcut, Control Command F.
Okay, thank you.
Control Command.
Can you guys hear Henry yelling in the background?
No.
Or no? Okay. It's just that skin looks so velvety,
If I don't move, he can't see me.
Yeah, exactly right.
Maybe he'll think I'm a stick.
So that's an Anna Maria photo.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how orange his eyes are and how white his face is. That chin is just so white, And then this is the showstopper picture right here. That's the one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So
they have the angry eyebrows like Pituovis do.
Yes, they do.
Perpetually disappointed in you.
In me.
Just that's how they look.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, why are you perpetually disappointed in me? What did I do? Oh man, so that's cool. And then I was gonna show you.
Might have to go get my slippers. My feet are actually getting kind of cold.
Well, here you can press. Let me screen share this. This is Underground's new room in the retail store with all the appropriate Venom labels. So we've got a black and white spitter, got some squams, a little purple mock action, some copperhead, blotch palm viper, which is funny because I guess when that animal was sold or traded in or whatever, it was actually supposed to be an Aurifer, which I thought was hilarious because it is clearly not an Aurifer. But it looks good. It looks crisp. It looks clean. I'm going to try and get some of the petbackdrops.com self-adhesive backgrounds to put in each one of those enclosures so that it doesn't look so sterile. Even though there's some fake decor in there, it just, the black background kind of, I don't know. I feel like it takes away from what it could be, you know. But yeah, that's that. I'll tell you what, kids, it is very difficult when Justin leaves and not having the control features. I'm going to have to update this. But yeah. And again, to anyone who's chiming in, listening in their car, our sincerest apologies for this sloppy show.
That's why you should be here live to see it and be disappointed in real time.
Nice. Thanks. That's good. That's good. Oh, man. Where are we at now, Bubba?
I got my slippers. We're good.
You do? Oh, look at you. Your little booties. Adorable. Adorable. Oh, man.
I haven't busted these bad boys out in a hot minute.
Yeah, I actually, I have one pair of quote-unquote pajama pants that, because, I mean, when I'm home, it's basketball shorts, hands down, all year round. But for those 6 or 7 really cold mornings we get in South Florida, I just bust out the pajama pants with the like Santa Claus cartoon animals on it. And dude, it was hard to find them. You know, when you only wear something a few times a year, I had no idea where
Buried
the hell it was.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, literally like bottom of the sock drawer, folded nice and neat. You know, I mean, the last time I wore it was last Christmas. So, but the Billy Hunt has been having a hell of a pairing this season.
Yeah, just within the last couple of days, he's been pairing stuff up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hardcore rooting for him, you know. He's got a ton of cool shit, man. Athertons and Novas and Lyras.
Yep.
Yeah, man. He's got some really cool stuff.
It's got me itching to get back to breeding condors again, man. I'm fairly confident that this time next year I'll have some ready to go. So
Well, good.
As the seasons progress, it seems like the number of animals that are ready to go is increasing as well. So
nice, good. I basically decided that I'm going to wing it and throw my IJs together. And then I realized that I had moved some tubs around and I don't know which one's which. It's supposed it's 1.2. And I'm pretty sure the male is the darkest one, but I just fed them. So as soon as they all poop, I'll be probing them, and then hopefully we get another little cold snap like we had this past weekend, and I'll throw them together. It's crazy, man, because they're the only carpets I have besides my one female Darwin that's a runt. They're the only carpets I have that have the ability to really climb, shy of normal tub height. And my house is the same temperature, but outside, oh, it's drastically different. And dude, they know, man. They freaking know. And I wake up in the morning and I go out and grab a cup of coffee and I see them and they're all sprawled out across the Specialty Enclosure Designs arboreal perches. And like that's what made me think, like, man, I should put them together. You know, I called Billy and I was like, hey, man, are you starting to put carpets together? And he's like, yeah, I did X, Y, and Z. And I was like, should I just put those IGs together? Because I've had them for 2 years now. And because they're finicky eaters, they're very little growth at all. But in my opinion, they would be breeding in the wild at the size they are. And they've got to be at least 5 or 6 years old. They have to be. But they're nowhere near the size of Billy's or Jake's. I mean, granted, Jake has some colossal IJs, but like looking at Billy's breeder females, and
I think that's just more natural, though.
What?
Like, to me, like, I'd be okay with having older animals that were also smaller because they weren't fed into oblivion, you know?
Yeah, no, I concur. I do. I get weary because, you know, they look like they're only the size of a 2-year-old, but they've got to be at least 5 or 6
You're just gonna,
old.
yeah. I mean, you're just gonna get a smaller clutch.
Yeah, yeah. So as soon as they relieve themselves, and I can get a probe up in there, I'm gonna throw them together, see what happens. And to be honest, I kind of feel like, and again, this is me counting chickens before I have a farm, but I kind of want to just let them do MI, providing they stick to it. You know, I have the incubator on standby, ready to rock and roll, and I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna just let them do it, see what happens.
I definitely want to at some point with something, you know, be it chondros or whatever. I'm super curious to try that out. You know, just be. I know I like when I first bred the chondros, I said I was going to, and then I wimped out last minute. But I think it'd be especially cool with the anthill pythons. Like, to me, that's like the coolest thing is the thought of like this tiny python wrapped around a tiny clutch of eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never bother with Antaresia again, probably, but that's just something to be cool to see. Next time Juliander has some, I want to see if he does MI. I want him to take pictures.
Yeah, man, that would be a wild ride. I think it'd be awesome. The
sinuses are acting up for some reason.
I always wanted to see someone do a fake termite mound where like you could take the top off and look inside. And I don't understand why someone hasn't done it. Like, even if they built it like out of ceramics, you know, just like get some clay and cut it in half, you know, and let it fit back together. I think that would be really, really cool to do anthills or children's or something like that. That'd be cool. So, oh man, the talking with Marcus, and it's all of the Cerastes have all shed multiple times. They've all eaten copious amounts of times. And it looks like we're going to have more blue spotted or gray spotted than we anticipated, which is phenomenal.
Good.
So now probably in the next, maybe next week or two, I'm going to go down to his place and we're going to start to sort through them and figure out what's going to be a holdback, what's going to be a sell off, and kind of piece that together. So anybody who's listening, if you are curious about keeping Cerastes, and you're interested, let me know and we will see what will be available. And yeah, because all the animals are doing tip top, and now we have the luxury of being choosy as to what we keep and what we let go. So, awesome. And I don't think we're gonna do like one male and 10 females. I think we're just gonna keep individual pairs. And then try and get the most likeness in terms of color patterning and whatnot. That way, if we have to swap males, who cares, you know? But I think it'll be good to have even pairs. And then I may even try just leaving pairs together and just see how that rolls.
Do you know when, like what time of year they typically pairing up? Are they like
Yeah, I have
spring breeders, winter breeders?
Yeah, I have everything written down. I don't have it in front of me, and to be honest, after tonight, my mind's fried. But I will say this: the internal gestation period is far longer than most, and then once the eggs are laid, it's only about a 30-day incubation.
Okay,
Yeah, they don't do the
that's like the
funky.
Dion's.
Yeah, very, very, very similar to
Yeah.
that. And from what I gather, parents don't give a crap about babies. So whether the eggs hatch in the enclosure or not is kind of irrelevant. But where people go wrong is they assume that eggs would be incubated in the same environment that the parents are found, and that's far from it. And we talk about layers of microclimate. We talk about surface layer being the most hot, the most arid, going down a step, a little more shade, a little more humidity, and then getting the next step down into more the loomy soil with a higher humidity. And all the people that I've seen that have successfully on purpose bred them in captivity, they give them a lay box like you'd give a carpet or a chondro or a rat snake,
With like spag in it or something?
Yeah, like swag and potting soil, and they fluff it up with play sand, and which is crazy because I feel like you'd have to time it just right to know, okay, that female is going to drop within the next 3 days. Add my lay box, because I feel like it's just so much humidity that it would taint the rest of it would cause problems. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. Again, we're easily a year out from anything like that. We're basically going to skip this year and just go for 2022 into 2023. But I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make larger tub enclosures that are high heat with a higher gradient, so that the hot side is
Like
still, this hot side's still 90, but the cool side is like 75 with the lay box. So, and who knows? I actually think I might try doing just spraying the sand with water, like you do with knobtails or some of the more arid gecko species, and just see if that works. But unlike geckos, you can't check them every day and stick your fingers in there and sift through the sand. You got to pull mom.
You could, but
right. You could, but you wouldn't want to.
Nothing saying you can't.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of stuff saying you shouldn't.
Yeah. So that's on the horizon, man. I'm excited about that. It's a project that came out of left field, and we struck when the iron was hot. And I think it'll be super cool to have some captive bred, blue spotted cerastes. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you guys sort of see it through like long term and sort of line breed some stuff and see if you can really build upon that and
sure
make it extreme.
Yeah. I'm also eager to see the ratio of babies that are born to develop horns, because in cerastes and cerastes gasparetti, there are individuals that are born without that horn scale. And they have it. It's just not. It doesn't grow to be this giant devil horn. And all of ours are horned, all of them. So, excuse me. And I'm eager to see what the offspring is and see if it is an incubation thing or it's a weather thing in terms of what the neonate had to deal with growing up. Because to the best of my knowledge, they don't really have a legit horn until about their third or fourth shed. You really start to see it coming out.
Kind of like sidewinders, like they don't get those, like when they come out, they look kind of bald almost, and then over time, I guess that brow sort of eyelashy thing sort of starts to develop more.
Yeah. The only difference being is that on like the cerastes, Crotalus cerastes sidewinders, it's a rosette of scale. It's like a little cluster that makes the horn, while as on the cerastes, it's one independent scale, which is super cool because when they shed, you can like play with the shed, and it's like a bendy.
The rhinos have that, like they shed that nose scale, and it's just it looks stupid as hell, but it
which I was actually going to ask too is on the Langaha, is that the same thing? Do they still have like a sock on their face when they shed?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they have to. I haven't seen it yet. I'm curious. Next time one of the rhinos goes in a shed, I want to see how they go about getting that off. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be I don't know. I mean, I guess if they start at that that labial scale and lift up, it's going to come off just as it would anything else. I don't know. The bigger male just shed, and he looks really good. I posted pictures of him on Instagram 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I freaking love those snakes, man. I could talk about those things all freaking day. They're just, God, they're so much fun.
They are. They're pretty cool, man.
Everyone needs some.
Well, I was just saying, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Jason Keller. And it's like all of my friends have rhinos except for me. And I kind of don't want them now on principle.
Dude, they're awesome.
I might be missing out, but that's
fine. Mine live in their water bowls.
See, and like that, see right there, that weirds me out, man, because like I'm so arid based now. Like you got a snake that lives in water, I got a snake that lives in sand. You know? So
yeah, like I'll even drop a fuzzy in the water bowl and they'll eat it underwater.
Nice. Oh, speaking of stuff living in sand, so Goods and Tight. You all right?
Yeah.
Dying on me?
I think I'm allergic to this Caldwell.
Maybe. Oh, and by the way, Bill Bradley, thank you very much for the planter box recommendations. I'm going to screenshot that in a hot minute. But my baby Telescopus obtusus are doing really well, just in general. Sure. The patternless one will eat a live blood pink if I leave it in there, which is good. Yeah, Dustin, Barons are pretty awesome. It's crossed my mind.
Rhinos are cooler.
I don't know, man. That blue Barons, man, with the black braiding to it. Oof. Anyway, I digress. So, but however, the female, which is the pattern one, has yet to eat for me. But I was watching one of my girdle tails sitting on a rock, and this is the weirdo that I am. I literally sat there and I was just watching her just sit on this rock, just looking fat and happy, just chilling. And I noticed that she had this giant piece of skin hanging off of her back. And I went to go like peel it off, and that's a nightmare. I shouldn't have disturbed her. I should have just let it fall off naturally. But I got the little piece of skin off, and I was thinking, man, I got to do the switcheroo with the baby Telescopus. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to wrap a live blood pink in this piece of girdle skin and just like make like a little pinky burrito and just leave it in there.
Look like ET in the basket on the bike.
Yeah, exactly. Verbatim. And I think that might actually work. And if it doesn't work, I think I'm also going to steal some skin too and try and feed that freaking Pyro, because she still hasn't eaten either, which is crazy to me. Any other snake would be dead by now.
Yeah, man. I was telling the group there was this one baby Baird's out of the 4 that I hatched, or however many, and that thing hadn't eaten at all. Like I was giving it tails for a while, and then finally I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave you be. Maybe one day you'll come around. And sure enough, last week drop fed a pinky, opened the tub fully expecting that pinky to be in there still because it normally is.
Right.
And it was gone. And the snake had a big lump. So I was like, awesome. And then today I fed again. Drop fed a pinky. Once again, gone. So for whatever reason, something clicked, whether it's the weather change or something. I think
it could be
something we had mentioned, like barometric pressure dropping or something.
Oh, yeah.
They know it's that time. So,
yep.
Hopefully that one continues, because I was like, that thing was just, it was actually starting to, it was getting thin. I was like, I fully expected to find that thing dead just because it just didn't take off. And it was one of those things where it's like, I put tails in it and it eats them and gobbles those down as soon as it's in its mouth. But you offer it a pinky or something and it wants nothing to do with it, whether it was live or frozen thawed or, washed.
Yeah.
Nothing was working. So I just said, you know what? If it happens, it happens. So
yeah. The Dustin saying he's got gecko skin for me if I want to try that. I appreciate that sincerely. I have Coleonyx shed, I have knobtail skin, and I have Underwater Source shed that I've been saving for this. But I don't want to do it until like last resort. So I've tried everything. I've tried washing, I've tried boiling, I've tried braining. Braining, frozen thawed, of course. Children, don't get upset with me. But I haven't really been pushing it either, just because so many people say like pyros go the first 6 months of their life without eating. They get into winter, and then they come out of winter, and they come into spring, excuse me, and they're like, man, I'm hungry. So I'm kind of hoping that's what happens. But the pyros are in a rack that I'm not going to drop temp on. So I may just set them up in like critter keepers at room temp and just see if that simulates, But I've said it once, I'm going to say it again. Dr. Crawdaddy gave me the coolest idea ever. Flattened toilet paper rolls to make rock crevices.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I could sit there and watch those king snakes for hours. Just going in between the paper towel rolls. Like, it's crazy. They just know. They're like, oh, jagged rocks. I'm going to slither in between them. I love it. It's great.
I've been giving humid hides to all my, like all the hatchling corns and bairds and stuff. And
yeah.
They spend way more time in them than I honestly thought they would. Like I went to Dollar Tree and got some little like deli cups.
Yeah.
But like taller ones that were not as wide, but a little taller, and
sure.
Just cut a little hole in the center. And they spend so much time in those things, and it's been I haven't really had issues with sheds previously, but sheds are definitely flawless because you can tell when they're going into a shed, they spend almost all their time in there. They use them way more than I was thinking they would.
Yeah, that's great. The Anna Maria's Florida King has had perfect flawless sheds, and I actually just bought her a fairly large Exoterra that'll last that snake at least another year, if not 2 years. And on Aspen, Hide Cave, halogen heat lamp, and cork round water bowl, and it had a horrible shed. And I realized that her room is super duper dry.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was in a gasket tub before that, the tub was keeping the humidity in, and life was grand. So
Right.
I made her a humid hide out of a large deli, and the thing just lives in there.
Yeah.
So as soon as it soils that Aspen a little more, I think we're just going to switch to cocoa husk or cocoa peat or something, and just try that, because I feel bad. I don't want the snake to have to always live in a humid hide. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's individual though, because one of my female corns, she spends 90% of her time in her humid hide.
Really?
Yep. Anytime it's rare that I open that tub and see her outside of that humid hide box.
Okay.
So, and then I have some that, they're in and out of them fairly frequently, but they're not spending all their time in it. And
right.
But I could definitely tell they're using it because it gets all matted down, and sometimes the lids just popped off because they flex and bust their way out.
Sure.
I need to figure out. I have to talk to Alan about the Ackies because I have questions, and maybe you could answer them. But
what's up?
They have a humid hide, like a dig box, but it doesn't. I've noticed them check it out, but I haven't seen them actually in there digging yet, and I wonder if that's just an older animal habit and not necessarily a younger animal habit.
The box that you have, that's the digging box, is it a lid with a hole, or is it just open top?
No, it's a lid with a hole.
I would take the whole lid off.
Well, it's meant to keep the humidity in there.
I know, but I would take the whole lid off and then monitor, every morning and every evening, monitor how dry it gets, and just add water appropriately and see if they dig in it. Because they may want to dig a burrow or dig a little tunnel or a nook or whatever, but that one hole for them to go through, it may not occur. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I don't know if you want to be having to add water every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I just added like a whole cup of it to it yesterday, I think.
Okay. I mean, you could always do the toothpick test too,
Mm-hmm.
So like fresh baked brownies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've had a lot of arid lizards dig in soil regardless of how humid it was. And like a lot of the girdle species, they'll dig out under rock, and it doesn't have to be, how do I phrase this? It doesn't have to be humid soil for them to dig in it. However, it has to be compacted enough that the rocks above them or the ground above them won't collapse.
Right.
Yeah. And I've noticed that too with a lot of the knobtails, where they won't dig at all unless it's the right humidity level, simply because they don't want it to cave in on them. You know? So
I don't know, maybe Bill or Dustin can chime in on that. I wondered if it was a thing that they started doing it more when they were older.
it could be.
And not necessarily something they did when they were younger, but basically the option's there. And I have seen the male in there kind of cruising around, sort of checking it out. I did notice what looked like the start of kind of a hole, like maybe one of them had gone in there and kind of started digging a little bit, but I expected them to spend more time in there than they have, but I don't know. And then as far as like the shed, I mean, do you just let them shed on their own, or do I have to go in there and make sure like with the geckos, you had to make sure the toes and stuff are completely shed, otherwise they'd lose toes. And
I've not yet had an issue with a lizard losing a digit to bad shed. I've had lizards lose a lot of digits because that's just nature of the game with certain species. You know, mom bites dad's toes and sign of dominance and all that stuff. But I feel like as long as you're checking them on the reg, then I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, like I said, I've never had it. Like Gila monsters. Gila monsters are the worst for getting shit stuck around their toes. And if I notice that she's going into a shed or whatever, I'll just take a glance at her. And if I see she's got a wedding ring on, I reach in there and I pluck it off, you know?
Yeah.
So, but then again, her feet are a lot bigger than your baby
Aggies.
Yeah, baby Aggie feet, right? You may want to get like a really, really fine cuticle tweezer just to kind of.
I've got some of those for eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
I've also used like an X-Acto knife and very carefully. It was on the tail, I think, of a chondro, actually.
Okay.
And that worked as long as you're super careful and delicate.
Yeah, you just kind of shave it a little bit. Yeah. But that is interesting, thinking about like stuff that burrows and how it burrows and noticing things. Like, for example, you know, when you scoop kitty litter, the wet clumps, even if they've dried, they still make like almost pieces of shale. They look like pieces of shale, flat stone. Excuse me. I've noticed the same thing with a lot of calcium sand. So what I'll do is I'll spray a bunch of calcium sand that's in an enclosure, knowing that it's going to rapidly dry out from the heating element or the lamps or whatever, simply because it's going to harden. And until you like squeeze it and smush it, it doesn't crumble. It retains its shape. So I know that you have a soil and sand base with the Ackies, right?
Yep.
I would say, if anything, on the hot side of the cage, like where the heat lamp is, spray that down like you're misting a tropical snake, because you know it's going to evaporate that day, right? And then see how rigid and compact the soil gets, and see if they like to dig into that compacted soil because it had moisture and then was deprived of it. Kind of like the black soil in Australia, the cracks.
Yeah.
It's the same concept, but obviously it doesn't retain the fissures like the Australian stuff does. But if I would be interested to see if they use that, or if they like that, you know?
Well, the problem is the front lip on that Python portal setup is really shallow. So there's not a ton, like that's one of the reasons I gave them that box, was because there's not a ton of dirt for them to burrow in and dig in.
Yeah.
And so I gave them that box as a way to scratch that itch if they wanted to.
Yeah, sure.
So if like wetting it down like that wouldn't make a massive difference, at least in the context of this. Once I move them into something bigger that's going to have a lot more dirt, then they can do whatever they want, you know.
Right. And Nature for You has joined the show.
Let's see. Bill said only have an adult male Aki, but he's a tube/crevice hider. I offer digging opportunities, but he only digs for bugs, drinks from his water bowl. I've never had him dig in the sense of seeking humid dirt that I've seen. So maybe it is. I know like females, it's a necessity because they like to dig and lay. So I don't know. Like I said, it's there. It's not taking up any more space. You know, it's not in the way of anything. I was curious. Everyone talks about how much they dig and how much soil and substrate they need, and these two were like, no.
Yeah, I wonder how. I mean, I'm trying to remember, Papa Burke and how he has his setup, and I don't think he has a digging box, so to speak. I'm sure he'll add one because I know his are probably going to breed this year. But
yeah, whenever I get them moved over into something, I've been talking to Janet Blackbox about, because she got a baby Aki too, not that like just before I got mine, and so I was telling her, I'm already planning what I'll need in the next probably year, and sort of getting an idea of how I want the design to be, and seeing if she can make, like, if they can design and put out something that's catered to Odatria, like smaller monitors and stuff.
Sure.
That has a nice deep substrate lip, deeper than the the 7 or 8 inch that they have with their bioactive stuff. So
yeah.
I also wanted, I was seeing if she had a way of taking one of their like not 4 foot, but like 6 foot enclosures and splitting that up into 3 with just a light for rhino rats. No heat. They don't need the heat. So
yeah, that would be cool.
And that way I could just have them in something, even though I'm planning to have 3.3 at some point. Right now I've got the reverse trio, but I got another pair coming from Burwell, and then I'm hoping I can hunt down another female and that I can get one from Stone at some point. So we'll see.
Cool, man. Good stuff. So speaking of cool enclosures, Scott just reminded me I'm going to show off something he did for one of his critters. Actually, I'm pretty sure, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is for a tiger snake. But he has joined the cool kids with this one. So we'll try and share this. Justin, if you don't mind.
I do.
Well, fine then.
Is this a haunted house?
Yeah.
Are the snakes at a rave?
Yeah, snakes are at a rave.
Snakes on a rave?
I think that's so cool. So freaking cool. I mean, I don't even know what species I would use that with that I have, but I feel like I need to have that in my life one day. Like, just too awesome, I don't know.
And that's similar to the one that we saw that they had, I think it was like for green trees or something. One of the zoos.
Yeah, I think, it was, I think, it's the, which is the zoo outside of Sydney?
Sydney Zoo.
I don't remember. New South Wales something or other, but they had it for an entire rainforest like wing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure like every single day at like, between 2 and 4, it does that. And they have like a rain system.
Just replicated Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Just replicated Florida, 100%. But now because of global warming, it doesn't happen at 2, it happens at 4.
There you go.
So
you know how Billy has his little tag system for keeping track of, like, when he has 2 animals together, he has 2 tags on the tub.
Yeah.
And like for feeding and stuff. I'm doing something similar now because when I feed, sometimes stuff doesn't eat, and to make sure that I don't forget about, checking to make sure it got eaten, I got some of those binder clips.
Right.
But if you go to Staples, they have them in like 10 different colors. You can get like red, yellow, green, blue, silver, whatever. And I got some red ones, and I now have it so that I just put that clip on the shim of that tub.
Sure.
And because it's red, it stands out. And so I started doing that today with some of the stuff to, I drop feed everything and then come back through and see who ate and who hasn't. And whoever hadn't, put one of those red binder clips on that tub so that in the morning I can check. But I'm going to do that for like animals that are in shed. That way I'm not thawing out mice and having to throw them out, because some of the animals that I have, when they're in shed, they're not going to eat.
Right.
So something similar to like what Billy was doing, but a little more simplified. It's small stuff like that I
man.
like. It's stuff that makes life a little bit easier.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't cost a ton of money. You could use Post-its, I guess, but
yeah, but I feel like Post-its,
you feel like throwing away Post-its all the time.
Yeah, and you're constantly throwing away, like you said, and then the adhesive kind of fades too, especially with humidity in the room or the temperature of the room, and they fall off. And then you come in the room and there's like 6 Post-its on the floor, and you don't know where each one went. You know what I mean? So I can see how that could get frustrating.
Because I thought about doing the tag thing like Billy does, but then you have to buy those tags and you have to buy those same clips.
Right.
And I was like, I'll just buy these clips. You get them at, I think a pack of 15 at Staples was like $4. So, and I'm sure they're cheaper at Walmart.
Well, I bought, again, Billy in mind, because Billy hand writes everything. God bless him. I had those feeding cards that you gave me, and I reverse engineered them and made my own, and printed them on cardstock. And I have them for most of the stuff that I want to keep an eye on, like some of the stuff that I know it's going to eat, like Mexican Black Kings.
Yeah.
They're always going to eat. I don't have to remember what they ate. They're just going to eat. But like the Rincals and some of the carpets and the Subak and stuff like that, I want to keep tabs on it, So I bought, it was like $8.99 for 100 little baby binder clips, just so I could clip the card onto the tub or the vision cage or whatever. But the problem is, you don't realize, like, it gets in the way.
Yeah.
And like I get annoyed because now I have like this thing flapping.
Yep.
So now I just like stick them in between each other. But what I wound up having to do, like when the Rincals, because they're all in tubs, I had to write, because I'm not going to write their name on each tub per se, which I probably should.
I just use masking tape for that.
Yeah, I
like something that doesn't leave adhesive and is easy to peel off and move around if I need to.
Right. So I use painter's tape. The same thing. I use painter's tape and I put their name on it, because those are the only snakes I freaking named anyway. And now if the card falls on the floor, I know which, because they do look very similar. I mean, most of them are all unique, but I don't. They're not exactly humpback whales, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, masking tape is your friend in that case, and I don't get the blue stuff. I get the like tan.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to see unless you're using the metallic Sharpies or something on the blue painter's tape. It can be, especially as you get older and my eyes suck already as it is. So
yeah,
I use the lighter tape.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wound up having yellow, so I just yellow tape with a black Sharpie. It stands out enough,
And even if it's not even named or something, I just write if it's a male or female, and then like that little corn snake I got from Chris, that's got like 5 different hets. Yeah, it's got those listed on it. And it's nice because then if I end up upgrading it to like a 15 quart, I can just peel that piece of tape off and slap it on the new tub, and
exactly
don't have to fight with it. And
oh yeah,
it's the little stuff, man.
It's the little stuff, 100%. Well, I was gonna say something about hooks. Now I forgot. Man, what was I gonna say? Oh, so having the right tool for the job, right? And I know we've talked about that Venom Life Gear rack tool, the drawer puller. I have been using that rack tool for so much stuff, and I poo-pooed it in the beginning. It was the best $30 I ever spent. because I use that thing as much as a snake hook, if not more, probably more. You know what I mean? Just because I don't use the snake hook to pull the drawer open anymore. I use the rack tool, and do double hooking snakes with it. Sliding water dishes towards myself. Flipping over hide boxes, all that stuff, man. That rack tool, I cannot speak highly enough about it. And when I was doing this big overhaul, cleaning everything, I even used it. I'm short and I have short arms. I couldn't get some poo on the back of the cage, so I wrapped a paper towel around it and I used that to kind of scrape off the goo on the back. So I thought that was awesome. Scott sent me an awesome video of he gave me a little private tour of his venomous room, and he's like, yeah, there's a snake hook here, snake hook there, can't have no snake hooks. He's like, oh, and by the way, here's the tool wall, Phil. And dude, it's like the armory of a SWAT team.
It's like amazing. John Wick if he had snake tools.
Yeah. Exactly. If John Wick was a snake guy, that's what it looked like. It's my favorite part of the room. I love it. So, and he was actually telling me about he did a big Midwest order because obviously it's an arm and a leg to get stuff from here over there.
Make it worthwhile.
Yeah. And he got, man, now I can't remember what the hell it's called. It's a set of grabber tongs. But they're small. They're very small and thin. And they have a very, very, very sensitive trigger because it's meant for fine tuning and such. Let's see if I can find it. Midwest Tongs Pro Series mini machined tong. So this is definitely on my Amazon wish list. Let me try and screen share. So Scott's using these for smaller elapids that are
I saw those.
Not gonna ride a hook that well, but you could see it literally has a firearm size trigger on it with an actual pistol grip. And he's saying that the amount of pressure, I mean, it literally says it's a 1 pound trigger pull. The amount of pressure that's used can be feathered. And he said that the head is thin enough that you could pick up the daintiest of snakes. And I'm really contemplating, picking up a set of these just to try them. And you can see how it is perfectly machined,
What are they asking for them?
They're $100 for the 27-inch and $115 for the 37. So I think, honestly, I'm going to do the 27-inch because even though it's putting me in a closer proximity to the animal, I feel like the 37 might be too cumbersome. Yeah. A
little too clunky.
The one thing I am curious about, which I don't think it specifies on here, but Johan Murai from the African Snakebite Institute always says that the front tooth of a tong should be no less than 64 millimeters, because if it's less than 64 millimeters, you'll pinch the snake. And people always worry about, cracking ribs or pinching skin or pinching muscle. And I don't know. The scale of this is difficult, but I don't know if that is 64 millimeters. It looks awfully short. It probably looks like it's about 40, maybe 50 millimeters. But then again, the animals that you'd be picking up with this, be that as it may, would be dainty. And I don't imagine you would need such a look. Because, let's be real, you're not going to use this on a 8-foot mamba. You know, they have gentle giants and M1s for that. But these things, I'm very, very interested to see how these work and see how they are. I wish they said how heavy they were too, because I feel like something that's so fine-tuned, you'd want it to be incredibly light. Yeah, see, weight and dimensions are NA. Oh well. But yeah, that's on my Amazon wish list. So
I'm kind of surprised no one's made something similar but modified to where that bottom bracket is like concave.
Like a spoon?
No, like instead of being vertical, that bottom one is like meant to go under or around like the lip of a water bowl with that front tooth to be able to pick water bowls out of tubs and stuff.
Sure. And my correction, Scott says that he is using it for feeding and not handling, but he does say it is amazing. He says, we don't tend to use tongs for handling personally. So that makes sense.
I don't really see people using tongs to handle much anymore anyways. It seems like a lot of people that have them, they use them for feeding. Like, no, I don't see people using tongs actively.
Yeah, at least not in captivity. I know the most that I see tongs used is in Southwest US for rattlesnake removal, just because it's easy, get in, get out. The snake's okay, the human's okay, and Sub-Saharan Africa. I mean, they love their pilstroms in Sub-Saharan Africa. That's like it's like a cultural thing for them. So, excuse me.
It is 55 degrees in this garage right now. I think we might have a winner.
Envious.
I mean, for cooling and stuff. I just have to figure out a way to, like, if it ends up being like an abnormally cold night as we get deeper into winter, figuring out a way to offer at least a little heat to kind of make up the difference.
Yeah, you're saying if it's 45, you want to bring it up to 50?
Yeah.
Well, you can get one of those 150 or 100 watt ceramic heat emitters for inside of a conventional heat lamp dome, and I have two of them. I have 200-watt ceramic heat emitters in a Zoomed double dome that hangs off of a shelving unit in my room to just perpetually radiate heat. I mean, obviously I turn it off in July and August because it's hot as hell as it is, but like that thing runs, it's been running since August. Like I don't turn it off,
I'll probably get like a black sheet or something to put over the stack. And then maybe like hang a light from this little rack shelf thing that holds all these empty tubs and have it like positioned high enough to where it's going to keep that spot around, that 55 mark. But
sure.
I don't know. I gotta figure it out. I'm not gonna do the closet again this year. I don't think it gets cold enough. So
yeah, I mean the garage seems like a much better choice in that regard. I don't like using actual lamps for something like that because if I want to run it all night long, I'm emitting light. You know what I mean?
Well, I thought about getting like a red bulb or something.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
But those also burn out. It seems like in no time. So maybe a heat emitter is a better way to go, like the lowest watt possible.
And you don't even need the lowest watt possible, man. I mean, because remember, your garage is gigantic. You would probably need, I mean, 2 of those things at night might bring the room up a few degrees, if that. But if it's cold enough, you need like 5 or 6 of them. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
I don't know. I'll have to get some and start playing with it. I want to get that figured out now rather than later.
Right. So Vic says he's sending all his snakes up to you for the season.
Yeah.
Just for the season. So
I wish I just had a cooler like Billy was looking at that you could just set it to 55 and throw them in there and be done with it.
Well, I mean, I have my one wine cooler, but it was supposed to be from 45 to 60, right? It won't go below 47, but at the same time, it won't go above 49.
Yeah, they're so well insulated. That's kind of the tricky part is there's not a whole lot of wiggle room.
Yeah.
And then making sure the actual temperature module thing is accurate.
Right. Yeah.
I need to get another incubator too, because if I have as many clutches as I'm thinking I'm going to have, my one incubator isn't going to cut it. It's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Might be time to invest, my friend.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk to Jen at Black Box about possibly seeing what they could do. She's mentioned in the past them toying around with the idea of maybe trying to see if they could come up with something, but I don't know what the status is on that. So
Okay. They're not making incubators right now. They're just making cages and racks.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But then Jake also said that I could probably use his sea serpents one because he said he didn't think he'd need it because I don't think he has really anything planned except for maybe a pair or two of something. I forget what, but
how big is his sea serpents one?
It's like the smallest model, but he said it can still hold like 8 6-quart shoe boxes.
Oh, all right. Well, that's pretty damn good.
But if I'm doing the colubrids and stuff, then I'm gonna probably just do those Systema boxes and do smaller incubation boxes rather than the a bigger like shoe box.
Yeah. Andy says maybe pump some air in with an aquarium pump into the main chamber to get it above 49. Not sure it would pump enough. So that was a thought. The only problem with that is it's got the magnet door because it's meant for wine. So the only thing that I could get in there appropriately was a Exoterra hygrometer and the probe thermometer from a Bavarian Electronics probe. So I got those in there. The problem was because I figured if I let it go down to 47 all night, that's no big deal. But if I could get it to turn off and then it would naturally raise to say 65 or even 70 during the day and then drop again at night, that would be awesome for what I wanted to use it for. The problem is I didn't have a night drop module for the VE200 that I was using. So I had to basically put the chiller on a timer. So that means it's turning on, getting cold, turning off, thawing out, and then starting the cycle over again. And I was too worried that it was gonna mess up, and I was worried about busting a coil and electrocuting an animal or something. I don't know. I get paranoid and get lost into my own self when I think about shit like that. I need to just get an actual chiller that's meant specifically for this and kind of go from there, And talking to some other people that have done similar rigs to what I've got, they just left the animal at the correct temperature, whether it be 55 or whatever, and they left it there for the whole season or 90 days or however long it was supposed to be. But again, me being in my own head, I think that I really want to try and at least get it to peak a little bit during the day, midday, noon or 2 o'clock, something, and then chill back out just to kind of simulate the earth getting a little warmer during the season. Because none of the stuff that I have is going to definitively go into hibernation per se. So. So Scott just sent me a video of his new LED UVA and UVB. So let's get that up and running because that sounds awesome. All right, Justin, if you would be so kind, sir. So here we have a measuring stick with the light at the top, and Scott's going to use his UV index reader at the bottom here to gauge the distance of the ultraviolet. That is not the right video. There we go. So 400 mil, 7. Wow. Wow. That thing's cooking. Very cool. Yeah, I'm really interested in them. I'm eager to see how well they do, how many people jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, and kind of beta test it for me. So But I think that'd be really great because now I can put that in damn near every single enclosure, and it's killing two birds with one stone. It's illuminating the enclosure for me, and it's giving the animal a UV benefit. So
The future is now.
the future is now.
Damn it.
Huh. So I say that in the Snakes and Stogies Facebook group, we do a poll for the 100th episode of what it should be. Because I have a few ideas in my head. I don't want to say them just yet on air, but I have a few ideas in my head, and I'll message them to you, and we can discuss it, and then put a poll up and let the people kind of choose what we do for our 100th episode.
You've got 2 weeks to figure it out.
I know, right? I know. So
Crazy.
and we're gonna try and have Jen on next week.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Awesome possum. Good stuff.
She was at the Columbia show over the weekend, so she said next week she has nothing going on. So.
Nice. She tell you any of her acquisitions from Columbia or no?
No, I think she was there more on work than anything else.
Oh, okay.
More on business rather than pleasure.
Fair enough. Well, is there anything else you want to cover tonight, my friend?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, forgive me, listeners and or viewers, for my intermittent abilities in the beginning of this show, but
yeah,
pulled it around.
If you made it this far, congrats.
Yeah, if you made it this far, you're a friend and you're doing it only because you're a nice person. So, but yeah.
Episode 100 live with Mango.
Yeah, if you want, we'll do it. Just Mango sitting there staring at the monitor for 2 hours. But yeah, check out Puget Sound Pythons.
Yes,
because they're amazing, and the Gendra's not present this evening because they're on a little mountainous adventure. So I'm sure we'll
hunting humans.
Yeah, Sasquatches,
chupacabras.
Yeah. And don't forget to check out the Instagram for the Venom Exchange Radio.
That's right. Got to stay up to date.
Yeah.
When things become available.
Yes. Anything else?
Nope. Everyone have a good morning, good afternoon, good day, good night, whatever it is, whenever you may be listening to this. We love you.
Who you got on THP?
I think it's going to be a one-on-one this week.
Word.
I figured we'd kick it this week and just kind of chill.
Sounds like a plan, man.
I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we rarely do ahead of time. So,
such as the THN way.
That's right. If it ain't broke, no need to fix it. Unless it's your computer. In that case, please get it fixed.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And that's the whole concept of having a spare. Always have a spare for everything.
Yeah, I was kind of freaking out because when I had to pretty much reset this one and do everything over again, I was like, I hope I can get this working again before Monday. Because it was telling me when I reinstalled the operating system and it's the new one, it's Monterey, it was like, oh, this will be done in 17 hours. I was like, oh my God. And
17 hours?
Yeah, I don't know. And it finally, I left it on one night to do its thing, and Katie freaked out because in the middle of the night, I guess Siri started talking, and Katie thought there was a home invasion occurring. So,
oh my God.
She tried to wake me up, and apparently I replied to her, and I have no recollection of that at all. So
that'll happen.
She's like, Justin, there's someone in the kitchen. I was like, no, there's not. Dead asleep.
It's just Ganyasoma.
Yeah. There's been many days without an escape in the Ganyasoma department. Thank you.
Yeah, you should buy stock in shims.
I keep like 50 on hand now. Can
Good.
never have enough.
Double them up. Fuck it.
Everything's working fine now, though.
Good. Still got the door sweep?
Yep.
Good. Excellent. Good.
Now everyone else is losing snakes, and we can see who's laughing now.
Yeah. All right, children.
All right.
Catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.